Welcome to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Ozzie Culhagil and Nick Innerbichler of Elite Income Advisors. And to our viewers at home, have you ever thought about what it means to refinance your retirement? We're going to talk in depth about that today because it's very interesting when you think about it. When do you want to refinance something? When rates are low, whether it's a house or a car or anything, any sort of debt, you want to refinance. But what does that mean when we're talking about refinancing your retirement? Nick, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Cynthia, how are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Ozzie, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
So good to see you.
Likewise.
And I'm so excited that the book is back with us this week. Before we dive into Refinance Your Retirement, talk a little bit about the book that's on the desk.
So the book is, it's all about retirement income. And these are, some cases that we had seen over the last 20 years and, how we help people to achieve their, goals or dreams that, when they want to do, when they come to the retirement. And we talk about the taxes, retirement incomes. We talk about the Social Security, Medicare, whatever you can think of when it comes to retirement. That's what we talk about in the book.
I love it. I love it. And they get a copy when they come into the office, right?
Yes,
Meaning all of our
they're going to
viewers?
get a copy. When they make an appointment to come and see us, everyone is going to get a copy.
I love that. Thank you for talking about that today. So, Ozzie, this whole idea of refinancing your retirement, refinancing your finances, if you will, what does that mean exactly when it comes to the retirement years, refinancing?
So at the beginning, you talked about that, like back in the days that the interest rates were high, like you bought the mortgages and the rates, is lower now. So you want to take advantage of this and you want to refinance your mortgage, right? It's the similar thing when it comes to the finances. Like you made your plans, you bought maybe some annuities like, several years ago. And at the time, the interest rates were like really low. But now the interest rates are high. So you need to try to take advantage of it if it's going to work for your best interest, right? Because now there is different type of annuities out there. There's some fixed annuities, there's fixed index annuities, have better rates than what they had like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So what you can do is you can come in and sit down and talk with us. We can take a look at what you have and we can explain it to you that what is the advantage of what you have and what is the disadvantage of that, what can happen down the road, and we can give you the retirement income plan for the rest of your lives and show you how is that annuity going to help you, and there is any lacking part on that side that maybe you should have to refinance your annuity.
And Cynthia, one thing that, what it means to me and when I see this, I mean, for years, interest rates at the bank were very, very low.
Yes.
And you would get like $100 a year of interest on your money that was sitting at the bank. And that was a good thing when it came to, as you were mentioning, refinancing your house.
Yes.
I personally refinanced my house a couple years back, and I've got a fantastic rate that I feel like I never want to sell my house, right?
Yes.
But with the money in the bank, we want to earn interest, right? And today, with interest rates being higher, you can now go get a CD for 3 to 4%. You can look at multi-year guarantees to get 3 to 4 to 5%. But taking advantage of where we are, and perspective is pretty interesting. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, interest rates, I've met with a lot of clients when I bring this up. They say, yeah, my first house, I had a 15% interest rate on my mortgage. Today, we're at like 6 or 7 or something like that, and that seems really high.
That number is high for us.
So a young person starting out and trying to buy a house, it's very devastating to look at a $3,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 a month mortgage. But it's the same thing with when you look at your investments, you look at your money in the bank. Can we do better? And looking at a refinance option makes sense.
Have you had clients come in recently that have benefited from refinancing their retirement? And if so, can you share a specific story without mentioning any names? I'm sure you see so many people, obviously, alone from the show. You have set appointments, but anyone come to mind that has refinanced their retirement?
Obviously, we're not going to say any names whatsoever, but this couple, they started the planning probably like 7 years ago, and they bought a fixed index annuity, and at the time, like when we look at this, like their fixed rate in their annuity was like 1%. And when the market goes up, you capture some of the gains, but their what we called is the cap, that how much gain they can, get is like really, really low, that they're not making any rate of return on their annuities. But, today the fixed interest rates are way higher than, when it was 7 years ago. The caps are way higher than. And in these cases, some of the companies that they do give, bonuses, the people these days, like, hey, you bought this annuity 7 years ago. Maybe if you want to change your mind right now, maybe you may need to pay some, penalty to get out of it. But, in the same token that you can get a bonus to getting into a new one, that will be probably covering up your penalties. So you might be in a better situation than where you were last week.
And in my situation, I've talked about for years that I deal with a lot of our legacy clients. They've been with us, I've been with the company over 15 years. They've been with us in some cases longer than that, 20 years. So I've been going through and reviewing our clients' accounts. And just recently, I was able to move a client's account they had since 2009, get them into something that we've talked about previously that had a better benefit for them. It's actually going to give them income for both lives, but it's also going to add on a long-term care benefit to that particular income payout. So it's not just about getting a better rate of return. It might be finding something that's new that didn't exist 16 years ago. So we all want more growth. That's ideal, especially when there's no risk associated. But we're constantly looking at, what do our clients have? Is there something we can put them in that's better than what they had previously?
And I love that, because wouldn't you say overall that investment strategies change through the years?
I was just going to say that. I think you felt it, so you said it. Why do we meet with the clients, or the Nick meets with the clients and quarterly or a couple times a year, and they have money in the market, and sometimes they need to make changes, right? Because the environment changed, the stuff changed, and he says like, okay, let's change your portfolio from point A to point B, so because you can do better things with the point B. There is no difference in the annuities, is the same. Like, whatever you bought it 10 years ago, 7 years ago, 15 years ago, you are looking for something different. And most of the time that Nick tells this, that the payouts in some cases of some of the annuities is for the single payout. What it means is like giving the good amount of the income for the person who took the annuity. But married couples, sometimes they take a look at it. Oh, what happens if one of the person dies earlier? Or like in some cases, some of our clients get sick, right? And they have some health problems, like, hey, I think I'm going to die before my spouse, but I want to take care of my spouse. What do I need to do? So we need to find something better than what they have. Has to be better, better than what they have. And in this case, we need to find something is going to give the best income for the married couples.
And what he's talking about too is best for them, right? It's not best for us as fiduciaries. We're not just making these decisions to put us in a better place. We're putting them in a better place, and whether it's giving them a bonus, getting them a joint payout versus a single. And the biggest example of that, I mean, we have this one client that worked, I think, for NASA, and they chose single payout on both of their pensions because they wanted to maximize the income. But when they die, they each lose over $100,000 of income. So they are someone that we would look at to say, hey, we can take these older annuities, give you a joint payout that's going to be higher than what you currently have, so that when one of you passes away, your income is not reduced by as much. I mean, 100,000 loss of income is pretty substantial.
Absolutely.
But nonetheless, there's constantly situations like that where we're looking at a payout. It might be single for one person's life. Joint is always going to be better as far as we're concerned. We're always going to look out for that surviving spouse.
I love that. Putting the client's needs first. You've always been that way. Ozzie, I know that you and Nick have a very special offer, a very special message, if you will, to the viewers at home. Talk about what that is before we take our first commercial break.
So, if you do call us, the number that you see on the screen, 833-308-5200, whoever calls us is going to get, one of my book. And in this book, we're going to talk about all about the retirement. And when you come in, that me, Nick, or one of our team members going to look at your situation. We're going to look at your income, and we're going to map out for the rest of your life. Or you can pick up your phone and raise the camera, and scan the barcode. You see it on the screen, and it's going to take you to Elite Income Advisors website. Then you can make your appointment over there.
Ozzie, thank you. Nick, thank you. To the viewers at home, the number to call is on your screen, 833-308-5200. And of course, we're talking about the importance of refinancing your retirement and making sure that you're on the best track for your retirement years. You deserve to have peace of mind. It starts here with one call, 833-308-5200. We're going to take a very short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the world of refinancing your retirement and how high interest rates can have a positive impact, sometimes negative. Stay tuned.
Growing up, my father was, he was a mechanical engineer, and he was always into the numbers. So I was always big on the numbers. Whenever it comes to finance, whenever it comes to clients, the accounts and this and that, I like to do all of these things on my head so I can give them as much as possible correct answer. I finished with the PhD in the economics. I started working in one of the biggest companies in the United States as an insurance advisor, and a couple of years later that I found out that I can be better served if I'm working for myself, so to speak. Being an independent is slightly different than working for a company. When it comes down to the people's life, there is so many solutions out there. When you're independent, you can give all these solutions to the clients, and I'm there until my last client leaves. It can be 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I don't look at the clock. So the work ethic is really important, and you just always have to try to do the best for your clients. As long as you do that, it will be fine. It's it's challenging, but it's out there.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Ozzie Culhagil and Nick Innerbichler of Elite Income Advisors, and we're talking all about the importance of refinancing your retirement. Gentlemen, we spent some time in the first segment talking about different times in life where you do refinance. Also, looking at a retirement perspective, if you will, when the interest rates are higher, obviously there's some benefits to be gained, but also if you sit still, there can be some negativity that occurs. So I want to talk a little bit first about the problems that increasing interest rates can have on your overall financial plan. Nick, may I guide that to you?
Sure. So we saw about a 40-year period where interest rates were very high, the late 70s, early 80s, and we saw them decline to near zero. And the impact there is positive in some sense because we went from having a 12%, 13% mortgage on our house. But conversely, we could get a 12% CD or savings rate at the bank. But as interest rates declined, it was positive for our housing rates, but negative for our savings rates. Yeah. And back in 2021 into 2022, the Federal Reserve finally decided, after many years, to raise rates. And the negative impact there was, fundamentally speaking, is when interest rates rise, bond prices go down, but we actually saw something that doesn't often occur. I think this is only the second time in about 100 years that we saw stocks and bonds both go down at the same time. So there are risks with rising interest rates that maybe we didn't think about fundamentally speaking. So that's a potential problem with having all of your money in one thing, right? Having your money 100% in the stock market. We saw the S&P 500 go down in 21 through 22, about 20% or so, and long-term bonds went down 30 to 40%, depending on the type of bonds. So, rising rates, while positive for our savings rates, damage the stock market, and now it's more expensive to buy a house.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. So, Ozzie, this next point I want to ask you, talk about the positives, if you will, about increasing interest rates. How can they have a positive impact on your retirement? And I know you're so passionate about the buckets of money, so this kind of ties in hand to hand.
Yeah, it ties that. So we spoke earlier, the interest rates is, raising it is just, if you bought something earlier, 5, 6, 7 years ago, the rates were different. and now it's different. You used to make, almost 0% in the money market. Now, in some cases, I see that there is 2-3% is being offered. So whatever you used to own, you can refinance that and make it better. So when it comes to the bucket-wise, like what we talk about it, there's, like Nick just said, like you can't put all eggs in one basket, right? You have to have different buckets. And how I take a look at the buckets, like to me, there is a red bucket and there's a green bucket. The red bucket is whatever that you own is somehow tied to the market. So the market goes up, you go up, market goes down, you go down, which is great in some cases. And there is the green bucket. And how I describe the green bucket is that you put whatever the amount that you do need to create at your retirement to subsidize your income gap. What is an income gap? Let's say that you do need $10,000 a month and you are getting Social Security, husband and wife, somewhere around like, $5,000. Then maybe you have like, some old pension that is giving you like $2,000. So you're at $7,000. So, but you need 10. So what you need is you need to come up with extra $3,000 from some kind of a source. It doesn't matter where is that $3,000 is coming from. What matters is you cannot live without this $3,000. So we cannot lose a dime wherever that money is going to come from. So we're going to have to find a way to create $3,000 a month. So we find a way to create this and we put that money into the green bucket.
Okay.
That green bucket is going to create you the guaranteed income stream that you cannot live without, and that money is going to come regardless what happens in the market. But now that you have the green bucket set up, so you are having your income, so whatever is in that red bucket that you do have, the market goes up, it's good. The market goes down, it's okay, but you're not worried because it's for a long term. We don't want anyone to lose money, but you can't not put all money in a red and you cannot put all money in a green. You're gonna have to find the right balance, and there is not right or wrong answer. Like everyone's situation is different. We are trying to fix the income first, then worry about the market later.
And the part of what Ozzie's talking about is what we do by building the plan, right? So when you come in to meet with us, everybody gets a bucket plan, right? It's the income plan, it's the bucket plan, and it's figuring out what do you need every month? That's the question I think that most people have the hardest time answering. The glaze over when I say, what are your living expenses? And when we're working, we don't really think about it, right? You've got a paycheck coming in. You know that you can spend, but when you're done working, as Ozzie said before, your paycheck ends. So you now have to reposition your assets to act like a pension or a paycheck. And if there's a gap, we need to help fill that in. And the bucket is the best way for us to help position your assets properly through the rest of your retirement.
And most of the time that what I'm seeing it with the people who's coming into our office, when we ask the question, okay, how much do you need? And they say like, what do you mean? So like, you are living off on some X amount of dollar right now. Do you know what that number is? And they say like, oh, $6,000. I said, okay, let's take a look at it. So you're working, you're making money, what's your net paycheck? The spouse net paycheck. Okay, so you guys are bringing, $12,000. And, at the end of the month, how much money you left? We save about $3,000. So that means that you're actually spending $9,000 versus 5 or 6. Most of the time when you ask, anyone like, what's your budget? What they think is like, what's my mortgage? What's my car payments?
Yeah.
Right? Those are the budget. Like the mortgage is like $3,000, car payment is $500, it's $3,500. But, there's a lot of things is also involved. Like, like the groceries, the electric bill, which, like we're seeing it the last several years, the electric gas bills are going off the roof. The people are started to paying way more than what they used to pay. So we have like spreadsheet for that, and we give it to the clients, they fill it out, and we put it into the system and say, okay, what you need is $9,000. So how can we get to this $9,000?
And the other thing is, what about the fun?
Yes, you want to have fun.
You don't want to just be able to retire just to pay the bare minimum. You want to be able to retire from the long career that you had and now enjoy your life. So putting together a budget, it's not fun, but it is something that is imperative to making sure you don't have a gap in retirement. And we're actually always going to build in more income in retirement than less.
Okay. So people can have fun.
More fun.
Yes.
More fun.
Yes. Nick, thank you. Ozzie, thank you. To the viewers at home, there's a number for you to call on your screen, and that number is 833-308-5200. If you're sitting in the viewing audience today and you're asking yourself, has anyone talked to me before about buckets of money? Do I have enough fixed income, guaranteed income to cover my needs in retirement? And if not, how do I add to that? If this is a whole new world for you, then this consultation is perfect. Take advantage of it. The number to call is 833-308-5200. Or you can visit the website of Elite Income Advisors just by clicking on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. You can claim your time accordingly. This is your retirement. You deserve to get it right. And most importantly, you deserve to refinance your retirement if the time is right. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Ozzie Culhagil and Nick Innerbichler of Elite Income Advisors, and we're talking all about refinancing your retirement, refinancing your finances, if you will. So Nick, talking a little bit more in depth about the positives right now for people that are watching and they're saying, gosh, I think I want to do some rebalancing, some re-establishing, some refinancing, if you will.
Right.
Let's talk more about the positive points.
So as we were talking about history in the previous segment, when interest rates were really high, it was great because you could get a nice savings rate. And it goes into the idea of the old 4% rule, right? That you could very conservatively take 4% off your portfolio and know that your money was going to last throughout your lifetime.
Yes.
When interest rates dropped, that number changed and it went down to more like 3%. But with interest rates rising again, and right now we just don't know which direction they're going to go. Are they going to go up? Are they going to go down? I really think right where we are right today is probably a good, stable interest rate environment. You know, obviously there's things that are bigger than us that will determine whether we need to lower or go higher. But the greatest thing, and when we talk about our clients' investments, whether it's an annuity, the stock market, whatever, the thing that I see the most is if you have an old annuity, as an example, and your fixed rate, you bought it maybe 7-8 years ago when interest rates were almost down at the bottom of the barrel. Mm-hmm. And as interest rates rose, you might have had sub 1% interest on that fixed account in that old annuity. But today you can take it and you can get 2%, 3%, 4%, depending on the type of account, the company that you put it with. And we're always going to use highly rated companies. We want our clients' money to be there when they need it. But you're going to look for something better. If I can get you better than 1% and I can potentially lower your fees, why wouldn't we do that? So those are some really good positive of rising interest rates, is that we have better access to fixed rates of return. You know, again, the stock market is going to go up and down for whatever reason, whichever direction the wind blows.
Right.
But for us, it's about making sure that our clients, when they need stability, they have the best performing asset, the best performing fixed rate that we can possibly offer them.
I love that. And so, Ozzie, when we're thinking about that, obviously refinancing your retirement, really we're talking about refinancing your finances so you can have a better, more enjoyable, more abundant retirement, because more is better, right?
The more is always better. And when we sit down and when we talk to our clients, the question that we do ask, like I said it earlier, right, the budget. But the budget is more like a need, right? The need is like, I need to have $8,000 is coming in. But we are more interested about, okay, the need is fine, you're gonna get the need, but what about what you want? Like, what do you wanna do at retirement? Do you wanna stay here? Do you wanna go to one of the friendly states with the tax? You know, do you wanna travel? Do you wanna travel in the United States, or do you wanna travel overseas? You know, how about the kids, you know, the grandkids? Like, you know, where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna live? And you have to think about all of the stuff. It's not just about, okay, like I have $2 million, take that $2 million, put it into the market, and let's roll the dice and let's see, you know, what happens. And I'll take, like he says, like, you know, 4%. So, you know, we made this example, I believe, a couple of weeks ago in a seminar. I said, like, okay, so like you're gonna take, let's say 4%, but you know, like if you take 4%, you know, based on the returns, that if the market doesn't perform, then let's think about that you're going in an airplane and you just get in, you sit down, and the captain comes in and he says like, there is a 40% chance that we're gonna make it to the destination. Do you stay? You know, no. Why would you stay?
Exactly.
You know,
I'm
like
driving.
you know, like he's driving, right?
I
Like,
agree.
So that all that rules like changed. Like it used to be 5, it used to be 4. Like several years ago was 3.2. I don't know what the number today, because the interest rates are changing. What you need to do, you need to find out what you have and what can you do and what is the fun.
Yes.
Because like you work, I don't know, 35 years, 40 years, all these, you know, years that you accumulate something, but it's on a paper that now you're going to have to try this to make it fun for you. Like, what would you like to do to enjoy your life?
Yes.
You know?
And in some cases, we're working, like Ozzie said, 30 or 40 years. You could potentially retire and live that long, but your window of enjoyment may be shorter than that. So,
That's true.
you know, in the beginning, you might say, I need $8,000 a month. How do I get there most safely and guaranteed possible? But then as I get older, I'm going to spend less. So we'd rather front load that need. And maybe it's not $8,000 every month. Maybe it's $5,000 one month. Maybe it's $8,000 one month. But building a plan to account for that and investing the money the proper way is very key to that.
What it comes down to is proper planning, and you gentlemen are so passionate about that. You want people to thrive and enjoy their retirement.
Absolutely.
Yes, we
and
do.
have fun. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
To our viewers at home, there's a number for you to call on your screen, and that number is 833-308-5200. Today's show is all about refinancing your retirement and making sure that you're on the proper path for an abundant, happy, and fun retirement. This is the perfect time for you to call in and gain that portfolio review complimentary, 833-308-5200, or you can click the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today on Retire Smart Maryland.